Mr. President.
Mr. Holden is here, and he wants everybody to know it.
The hour of 10 o'clock having
the council will please come to order. The council will please come to order. Call the roll.
Burnson, Chick, Fear, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley Thomas, Warner, Truax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present, a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, the council will please come to order. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 29th day of March, the year 2000. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Pacheco moves, Mr. Padilla seconds. There's no objection, unanimous vote. The next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
If there's no objection, unanimous vote. The next item.
Before beginning the regular agenda, there are several items to continue. Items 4 and 5, the applicant requests continuance to June 14th.
4 and 5, if there's no objections, unanimous vote.
And items 6 and 7, the applicant requests continuance to April 4th.
If there's no objections, unanimous
Excuse me,
vote.
Mr. President, that's April 5th.
April 5th. If there's no objections, unanimous vote. Next item.
Items noticed for public hearing. Item 1 is public convenience or necessity.
Is there anybody in the audience who wants to be heard on item number 1? Have no card, seeing none. The public hearing is closed. Any discussion on item 1?
And I need a motion from the floor to deny the application.
Mr. Fuhrer?
Yes.
Yes.
We want to reject the determination of public convenience and necessity on this item.
You then deny the application?
Correct.
Any discussion?
Yeah, because on my view, the selling of alcohol and the sale of gasoline are not compatible. Driving, picking up beer, and then driving off has been demonstrated by studies throughout the state to increase alcohol-related traffic incidents, and we shouldn't be sanctioning that kind of land use decision here.
Mr. President, on my time, that's good point well made. We discussed it, that aspect of combining alcohol and gasoline at the pump. But we do have a lot of stations doing that in the city, and what's going to be our policy or whether or not we're going to single shot. I think if we should revisit every one of those facilities that are doing that and decide by policy, because otherwise if you just say you can do it in some districts, you vote yes when it's before us, and then in some cases we vote no, and I'm thinking of the fairness of it.
Yeah, Mr. Holden, I think that having a uniform policy of rejecting these applications citywide would be a good idea.
Or making it retroactive.
Yeah, and I'm sure Mr. Burns will entertain a motion to examine that issue in the Planning and Land Use
Well,
Committee.
you feel that's okay to go on?
Fine with me.
Okay.
I think it should be a citywide policy.
You can stand by and argue with
No, Mr. President,
Let's move ahead. We have a lot of people.
On my time, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr.
Your
President.
time is up, Mr.
No, you didn't even start it yet. You
Yeah,
said you were waiting to,
right here.
you said you were waiting to speak.
Your time is up.
Well, you shouldn't have this computer here because it gives me a lot of information.
Yeah.
But I'll sit down.
Pull the plug on that computer.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, prepare the roll on the motion to deny. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. And next item.
Item number 2 is Mulholland Scenic Parkway Specific Plan Appeal, and the Planning Land Use Management Committee report is to be submitted.
Okay, item number 2. We just have some people who want to be heard. Gordon Murley and John Bowman. Gordon Murley? Shy Gordon, where are you? There you are.
I had to get the courage up to walk up here, John. Gordon Murley, President of Woodland Hills Homeowners Organization. Yesterday at Plum, I want to thank Cindy Mizikowski and Councilman Hernandez for understanding the problem. We understand why they will deny the appeal, and that's simply because staff did not put all the information in there that had carried on with this particular project. So what we had to appeal on was only what they turned in. But we want to thank them because they understand the real problem that things get way down the line beyond anybody able to retrieve it before anybody can speak up and say, wait a minute. So they very kindly have sent it back to the deputy advisory to make a report and get back to them, so all the facts are before not only the homeowners group, but before the council and the people in the planning department, so we can watch projects without them getting out of hand. So I want to thank both of you for understanding and keeping the doors open to protect the public. Thank you.
John Bowman.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of the City Council. My name is John Bowman. I represent the owner and applicant in this case, EPAC Woodland Hills Partners. This case involves a proposed subdivision, 25 homes in Woodland Hills. It's a 69-acre site, 55 acres of which will be preserved in its natural open space condition. The City Council did approve the 25-lot subdivision in 1995, vesting tentative tract map subject to numerous conditions of approval. The appeal that's before you is an appeal from the unanimous decisions of the Mulholland Design Review Board and the City Planning Commission to approve the design of the structures on this property as well as the landscaping plan. As I stated in Plum Committee yesterday, the appeal, the stated grounds for the appeal not only lack merit, but have little, if anything, to do with the application that's actually before you. And for all of the reasons set forth in the staff report and in our letter to the Plum Committee yesterday, we urge denial of the appeal. Obviously, to the extent the Plum Committee report also recommends denial of the appeal, we concur and we support and urge the adoption of that portion of the committee report. We do have some concerns, however, about the related action of the Plum Committee, which was to instruct staff to come back to Plum at some time in the future and present a report, a status report, as to my client's compliance with various conditions of the tract map, conditions which legally they're not bound to comply with until 2002 or before the final map is recorded, whichever comes first. Our concern is only because we've already had to come to numerous public hearings to defend against what we believe are baseless allegations, and it's one more time my client is going to have to expend funds to defend against these kinds of claims. But with that one reservation or exception, we do urge adoption of the committee report and urge denial of the appeal. Thank you very much.
All the cards we have for the public hearing is closed. Ms. Misakowski?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is in Council District 11, and yesterday we did hear it in the Planning and Land Use Management Committee. The report before you does recommend denial of the appeal because, as was indicated, and I think both sides agree, the issues on the merits of the appeal, which is a Mulholland Design Review Board approval of design and landscaping, is not really the heart of the issue. So we are setting aside the appeal, denying that, but the report also asked for a report back from the Deputy Advisory Agency relative to a status report on the tract map itself. This was something was approved in 1995, and there are some questions and concerns as to how it is moving forward in fulfilling its conditions and its obligations. It is nothing more than that. It is a status report, but I think it does address some of the issues that were raised at the hearing and previously, and is appropriate, I think, for all sides to be heard together in a status report by the Deputy Advisory Agency on what is going on with the tract itself. So I ask for an adoption of the committee report which denies the appeal.
Any further discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 8.
Item number what?
Excuse me, item number 3.
Okay, we have, that's a hearing item, and we have John Coos. John Coos.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the City Council. I'm here from AirTouch Cellular representing AT&T and Nextel as well. I want to thank Councilman Nick Pacheco's office for all their hard work on this project, meeting the community of Eagle Rock's needs regarding this item, as well as the decision of the Plum Committee regarding the change we made to accommodate the needs of the community. I'm here to answer any questions, and thank you very much.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on this item? Mr. Pacheco moves approval. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 8 is a Planning and Land Use Management Committee report.
Anybody want to be heard on that item? We have no cards. Seeing none, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 9. Has an A and a B. A is to deny the protest and to confirm the assessment, and B is to find that there's a majority protest and abandon the street lighting district.
Is there anybody in the audience who wants to be heard on item number 9? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on this item? We have two
items, but they can both be approved.
okay. Okay. No discussion, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Items for which public hearings have been held, items 10 through 21.
All right, 10 through 21. 12 is called special. 16 is called special. 14 is called special. Which one did you say? Who called 14 special?
13 special, Mr. President?
Who called for 14 special?
And I called for 13, Mr. President.
Yeah. Okay, we have 10 through 21. Huh? 20 is called special. Any other specials? Are there any left?
I just moved 21A.
Huh?
We can move 21A and let it be done.
Move 21A. Well, let's just call it special.
I'm sorry, 23A. 23, I'm sorry. We didn't get to that.
Huh?
We're not there yet, sorry.
Oh, so you're not calling 21?
No.
Okay, we have,
Yes, I'm on 21, yeah.
okay, we have before us 10, 11, 15, 18, 19. Prepare the roll on those. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved. Forthwith on 15. Next item.
Items for which public hearings have not been held, items 22 through 32.
Okay, we have cards on 29. We'll call that special. Anybody want to be heard in any of the other items other than 29? Seeing none.
Councilmember Miskowski requests that, office requests that item 27 be continued to April 4th.
Is there any objections to that? Seeing none, that will be the order. Anybody want to be heard in any of those items that, except 27 and 29? Ms. Miskowski, April 5th, is that okay?
It needs to be the 4th because this is a bill in Sacramento that is moving. I think there's a committee hearing on the 5th, so we wanted to bring it back. This is a 138-page bill that deals with some LAFCO issues, and there are also land use and the other things. So we need to have a staffing work done on Monday and bring back it into council on Tuesday so we can make a presentation in Sacramento on Wednesday.
Point of order, Mr. President. This is the matter that was considered in the Intergovernmental Relations Committee. I'm pleased to hear that Ms. Sikorsky is going to read the bill, unlike what we did with the one yesterday. Thank you.
So the matter is being continued until the 4th? Okay. I've been told that the person on 29 does not want to be heard unless it's called special, and anybody has been called special, so we'll take that up. So we... 23A? Yeah. Well, we'll call 23 special. Okay. Prepare the roll on 22, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Forthwith on 26.
Forthwith on 29, Mr. President.
Those are all approved. Forthwith on 29. Next item.
Items for which public hearings have been held, item 33.
Any discussion on 33? Any discussion on 33? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item,
Forthwith on that. Next item.
items for which public hearings have not been held, items 34 and 35.
34 is called special. We have a card on that also. Anybody want to be heard in 35? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll on 35. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
On the continued agenda, items 36 and 37, public hearings have been held.
37 is called special. Item 36.
Mr. President, on item 36, all the parties have reached agreement. There's amending motion 36A that I just asked for unanimous vote on.
Okay, we have 36A before us. Any objections to 36A? If not, we have 36 as amended. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President.
Next item. 37 has been called special. Next item.
Mr. President, next item is closed session item. Do you wish to hold on the
Well,
desk?
leave it on the desk. Item 12.
Item 12, called special.
Okay. I should point out, I know there's been public hearings on this, but there are some people who want to be heard. But Mr. Savernich, you call it special? Yes.
Just, I didn't want to speak, Mr. President, I just wanted to vote in negative.
Ms. Sikowski?
Mr. President, I would move a 5-minute public hearing. We had a major public hearing last week. This is the second reading on the ordinance. And then there are some technical amendments that are being submitted, but I'm going to suggest that they be continued until Friday so that we can adopt the ordinance today.
Okay, a 5-minute public hearing. We have Charles Ober, Peter Bernsister, Florence Belker, Paul Winfield, and Mary DeBossi. Are you going to be heard? You better get up there because we're going to, the time is running.
Charles Ober. Let me just bring out a couple of brief statistics that you might be interested in. With the crisis of the number of dogs on the streets of Los Angeles, South Central District had the highest request of services from the Department of Animal Services, yet they had the lowest response of all the shelter systems. One final number, you've heard the numbers concerning euthanasia. As high as 58,000 dogs and cats were euthanized last year. The corrected number for adoptable dogs and cats that were euthanized last year was 11,989 dogs and cats, and the euthanasia rate of adoptable animals was only 16.42%. Thank you very much.
Your name?
Good morning. My name is Pete Burmeister, representing the San Pedro Homeowner Society and the Senior Citizen, also the Kenai Association. We are against this proposal, and I urge the council to make a wise decision on that. You're punishing also the dog fanciers with the taxation without representation. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President and council members. My name is Paul Winfield. I'm also a backyard dog breeder, and I show my dogs. I'm here representing the abused and taxpayer that we're going to be charged $100 just to own a dog. Well, I might be able to afford it, but the people who
Mr. Winfield, don't pay any attention to my colleagues, just say your piece.
All right. Well, it's just that it's unfair.
I'll have you beat them up if they bother
Thanks a lot. I have some other issues too. Then it's just an unfair, and it's the people who can at least afford to pay this $100 are the ones who indiscriminately breed their pets. It's going to be hard to collect it, and it's unfair for us, the serious fanciers, to take the burden of paying for all of these overpopulated animal shelters. It's just, I'm here just to say it's unfair, and and I hope you reconsider this bill. Thank you.
Florence Belcher and then Mary DeBasi.
John, you know better. It's Florence Blecker. I'm Florence Blecker. I live in the Hollywood Hills. I'm a dog fancier. As we all know, the situation in our shelters is the result of many years of lack of funding. What we have now is a situation that needs addressing. This bill will not take the animals off the street, especially when things like at Monday's animal reg hearing, it was voted in the central shelter to take officers, special enforcement unit officers, off the street, to discontinue sweeps, to have them deal with complaints. That is not going to address the problem of the feral animals on the street. We've offered an alternate proposal, which we know has worked in other cities, unlike this proposal, which we know has not worked in many municipalities and has been withdrawn. We urge you to, at the very least, vote for the sunset of this issue, which will compel the proponents of this bill to prove that such a system can work. Let reason prevail, fund the shelters, address the past history, let the laws that are on the books already work, and sunset this bill at the very least if you do not choose to vote against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Blecker. Mary DeBlasi? Go right ahead, ma'am.
I'm Mary DeBlasi, legislative advocate for the California Federation of Dog Clubs. Believe it or not, I've seen all of you, and I know you don't want to see me again. This city desperately needs an ordinance. I have no complaint with that, nor does anybody who raises purebred dogs in this city. We know you need an ordinance. All we want is accountability, a bottom line that will come back to this council and say that this has worked. If it works, you have our blessing. If it doesn't, then let's replace it with something else, but let's have some accountability. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Terry Austin, followed by Susan Taylor, I believe.
Good morning, Council. It's interesting, as I say, as we've been down here for so many different hearings and meetings over the last 2.5 years, the only people against this ordinance are people who make a buck off of selling animals. The people who are for it are the people who are working with the citizens who live in your constituencies who are having a problem with an overpopulation of animals. Interestingly enough, I didn't see any of these people down at South Central yesterday to deal with the problem there. We have too many dogs in the city. We have too many dogs in the city. We need to do something to address that. I have in front of me the King County statistics, hot off the presses, that show that even though the opposition keeps saying this doesn't work in other cities, we have proof positive from the cities, not from their reports, but from the cities, to show that their licensing has increased significantly. In King County's situation, it's doubled. So I ask you to please contact the actual cities and don't listen to the propaganda, and please pass this ordinance. Thank you.
Susan Taylor.
Good morning. My name is Susan Taylor. I'm the Executive Director of Actors and Others for Animals, of which Actors and Others is also a member of the Coalition to End Pet Overpopulation. And between all of us, we represent about 50,000 members. And all of our members are here today represented by us to tell you that the simple fact is that overpopulation is caused by overbreeding, all types of overbreeding. For 30 years, we have answered the phone. The phones ring daily because people need help. We are here every day telling you that we love animals. We work every day hard to help these animals, and we're all here to tell you there are way too many animals. There's only one way to stop stop it, and that is through pet sterilization. This bill takes the first step into encouraging and motivating our citizens to get their animals spay and neutered. And we are here, as SIPO and the other humane organizations, to provide help and resources. One of them is this book that we are putting out that will have information on the law, how to get your animal spay and neutered, and it's going to be in 7 languages and passed out in every place you can think of, churches, schools, council offices. So I'm here today, again, on behalf of over 50,000 members of many organizations to tell you this is a needed ordinance, and please pass it.
Thank you. Terry Masalaro.
Good morning, Terry Masalero, speaking in favor of the ordinance. There are many of us here speaking in favor, and we were told that you wanted to keep the discussion to a minimum.
Yeah.
So we will do so. We just want to say, for all the reasons we've said over the past several months, we all still feel very strongly in support. Thank you.
Okay, the public hearing is closed. Mr. Holden, did you press your button? Well, it's too late now.
There's a lot of people, if we could take it out order.
Put the 3 minutes.
The only one who really needs to speak is Jerry, and I think
Yeah.
that
Am I supposed to be speaking?
Well, you don't have to, Nate.
Mr. President, members, I think it's one thing we can agree on, that the people in the audience who are on both sides of this issue are both equally concerned about the overpopulation of dogs, etc. And they want to do something about it, just have different ways, different approaches. One side says, let's be very punitive, let's impose a $500 fine, let's charge $100 if you didn't correct the problem or with the animal, if you didn't fix the animal. And you'll find that people who have an animal will go down for their license and they say, you got to pay $100. And their response would be, but I didn't know about this. So then this program is not, the education part aspect of it is not far-reaching enough. And the word is not therefore getting around to the people primarily who would be in violation of this ordinance. And nothing is being done about that in terms of using the same amount of effort, energy, and resources to make sure that everyone is aware of the problem. Well, who's going to be the victim? The senior citizen sitting at home in a wheelchair with the dog sitting by her at her feet or his feet. The poor people who go off to work every day and their pets at home, and some of them get outside and they roam the street, but they're still pets. Your own dog will bite you. The ones who are licensed sometime in your own home eat you up. And then report that you're dead. So don't tell me about you with the licensed, unlicensed, fixed and unfixed. They just go off on you. Or maybe the way you treat them, you abuse them. But the fact of the matter is that, Mr. President, members, my position has not changed. Now, you all remember that the guy who stood up for Pug and put the reward money in, Hannibal, who supported the elephant that was at the zoo under our jurisdiction. I have not changed. I have my consideration for the animals as well, the dogs, the cats, and so on. But I'm not in favor of demanding that we impose a penalty of $100. Mr. Savarnish is correct. It is punitive. The people who can least afford to pay will be in violation of a law which they don't even know about. Those of you in the audience can afford to pay. You do know about it, and most of you are very wealthy people. Now, the poor people like myself, we can't afford.
Your time is up, Mr. Holden.
No, my time is not up.
That was a climax. Okay. Mr. Pacheco.
Mr. President, colleagues, once again, I stand before you to request that we amend the ordinance to include a sunset on it. I believe that we have done this before as a body. There have been many ordinances that have been put on a trial basis. I believe that this is one where I am not completely comfortable with the way it's structured, but at the same time, I can't completely say that I oppose it. And I would like to us have a period to look at it, and June 30th, 2003 is long enough out there that no one's going to sit out and ignore the ordinance. So I would request, once again, to move 12A for consideration.
Ms. Misakowski?
Thank you, Mr. President. The ordinance, as we have it before us today, is exactly what we acted on last week. The motion that Mr. Pacheco's brought in, 12A, is the motion to put a sunset clause. We debated this. We had good articulated points last week, and the council rejected the sunset clause. And in fact, the ordinance is being brought forward again for second reading today, does not have the sunset clause in. On the other hand, the Animal Services Department did indicate that they would review the ordinance and they would report back both to the Animal Services Commission and to the City Council within 18 months after the law has been into effect to give us some reports, to start looking at statistics and to start knowing what else we need to do. It's clear, members of the council, as we talked about last week, that this is not the only answer or it's not the only solution. The issues, as we have dealt with both since this yesterday, not only deal with legislation which is before us, but enforcement and the need for more animal control officers dealing with enforcement. It deals with education and the need for education across all sections of our population and assistance in terms of helping those who might find some of the fees burdensome to have alternatives provided by the nonprofit groups and those groups that are out there. We discussed last week, and I think the Animal Services Department did indicate that there are going to be vans available to go out into the community to do the spaying and neutering in areas where it's most needed. It's also a matter of funding, and that's what we talked about yesterday, that we need to accelerate as fast as humanly possible and as fast as the department is able to absorb the funding, not only for more enforcement officers in the outside to pick up the stray animals, but also for dealing with the animals that are in our shelters and are in the kennels and how we can deal with that, both legislatively and with better facilities and better employment opportunities there to keep the force what it needs to be. I am asking for an aye vote on the ordinance and a no vote on the sunset clause, which we did discuss last week and rejected. We need to reject it again today and get on with the business of having this become our law.
Mr. Ridley Thomas?
Previous question, Mr. President.
Mr. Ridley Thomas moves the previous question, which would cut off debate. There no one else want to be heard, so I will move that I will instruct that the previous question have been imposed. Now we have Mr. Pacheco.
Mr. President, I have a point of order, just, or maybe it's clarification. I believe we're on second reading now, are we not? And if I understand this correctly, and this is what I'd like to clarify, we must vote in second reading on what?
On the ordinance.
On what we voted on at the first reading.
Yes.
Which means that we've already voted on the amendment and rejected the amendment, and what's before us is the ordinance unamended.
Yeah, but...
So is that what we now vote on, or do we, or can we in fact revote the amendment?
You may take a vote on the amendment if there's a second. If you do that, and the amendment is before you and you approve it, then it becomes a first reading ordinance again.
Thank you.
As it's unamended, it will be a second reading ordinance today.
Okay, we do have the amendment, so prepare the roll on the amendment.
No vote.
Huh? Prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
7 ayes, 7 noes.
That failed. Now we have the second reading ordinance. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 3 noes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that.
Forthwith.
You know, you can file out quietly, and we do want to thank you for being here and showing your interest. Next item. Mr. Wax.
Mr. President, can we take item 16 now out of order? It won't take very long. There's only really one person, I think, that wants to make a, and then all these people with the green tags can leave.
Okay. There's no objections? All right, then, first of all, item 37, request to continue that 1 week. There's no objection, that will be the order. All right, item number 16.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Mr. Snyder, the the developer to make a brief a presentation to the council and what's involved, and then hold my time, and I'd like to ask the council to approve the report that's before us today. But let me introduce Mr. Jerry Snyder to make a presentation of the project itself.
Mr. Snyder?
Thank you, Councilman Waxman. Members of the council, I'll be brief.
What is your point, Mr. Holden?
The exclusive that we're giving in this proposing?
Yeah, you want to vote against it?
I didn't say anything like that.
Jerry, don't pay any attention to him. He just likes to play games.
He already beat up on me once this morning, so it's okay. Members of the council, the Valley Plaza Shopping Center, where Sears Roebuck now exists, has fallen in disrepair because of the earthquake, and we competed, and we were lucky enough to be selected by the CRA to develop the property. We've hired John Jurdy, the architect who did Universal City Walk, Horton Plaza, and recently just completed the Bellagio Hotel. We have had complete neighborhood support, merchant support. We think it's a beautiful project. We brought some renderings. We're prepared to go forward. I brought everything up here. I don't, so far this has been very smooth, and I don't really believe we've had any opposition. The project basically consists of 900,000 square feet, a 4,000-seat theater, bookstores, restaurants, and other retail, and 2 office buildings, one to be built to suit for the existing tenant that's already there. And that's about the quickest presentation I can give you. Thank you.
Anything else, Jerry?
That's it.
Okay, all right, then the public, all the people that did want to be here, we will make the cards part of the file, and we appreciate your consideration. Mr. Wax.
Just briefly, members of council, there are a number of people here from the community, representing all segments of the community, all of whom...
Should point out none in opposition, Joe.
As I say, all of whom are in favor of this project today, and there is no opposition, and for good reason. It is a great project. It's a good project for the residents, it's a good project for the businesses, it's a good project for the tenants, it's a good project for the homeowners, and it's a good project for the property owners. It is an exciting part of the redevelopment of this part of the San Fernando Valley. We have a developer who does high-quality projects in this city, an architect who is world-renowned. We have a project that meets the needs of the people in the area and yet will attract people to the area as well. It's an exciting project. We have planted a lot of seeds over the years, and now the North Hollywood projects are beginning to bloom. This is the first, we're hoping, with the revitalization at the Laurel Plaza, so that the whole Twin Plaza area becomes vital, and of course the North Hollywood redevelopment. And noticeably, while this isn't a limited redevelopment area, they're not asking for a lot of public money on this. We are going to assist in terms of the accumulation of land and help put the properties together and make this a reality and enable it to go as quickly as possible. But it is a really an exciting project, and I'm delighted to ask for your unanimous support.
All right, Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, I think that the fiscal impact per the CAO is that there's no CRA money, nor is there any general funding money being requested at this time. Now, we've had projects like this before, and I've never seen any such language in there at this time. My question would be, and the staff should come forward, will we ever be required to use general fund money? Would it ever be necessary to use CRA money? And when you have eminent domain where you acquire the property, are there any homes or living units in this general area? And I don't think anybody's addressed that issue. If you hold my time, Mr. President, while those questions are being answered, which is traditional to do, I would respectfully request. Thank you.
Holding Mr. Holden's time. Go ahead.
Yes.
Don Spivak from the Redevelopment Agency. The site in question is a 50-acre site. It is a completely commercial site. There are no residential parcels or properties on the site. The project at this point is still in a very preliminary stage in terms of its economics. There is no expectation of any city funds going into the project. Whether there are funds that that redevelopment funds is to be negotiated as part of the exclusive negotiation period. It is, however, a project that is expected to generate substantial tax revenues to the city as well as property tax increment to the agency. It is a project that is expected to create more than 1,000 new jobs.
Are you going to comment also, ma'am?
Terry Saraceo, staff. What you have before you is an exclusive right to negotiate. As Mr. Spivak said, at this point, there is no commitment of either city funds or agency funds. There is no reason to suspect that there would be a general fund contribution on the part of the
Just
city.
one final question, Mr. President. How did it come to happen that this firm was the one where it was provided the exclusive right to negotiate?
There was a statement of interest process that was followed last summer. Statements of interest were issued to all of the property owners and tenants. That was followed by a request for proposals. There were two proposals that were filed in response. This was by far the superior proposal in terms of both its content and completeness, in terms of the concept that was put forth for the site, and the experience and track record of the proposed developer.
Right. Now, on my time, Mr. Snyder probably thinks that I raised those questions because of him specifically, which is not the case. I did it for Mr. Wax because he dogged the hell out of me about a project where an exclusive right to negotiate in my district, and he turned around and he voted against it. So this inconsistency should be highlighted at a time when I think that it's important to do so the message will get out there once and for all to all. But because you say Mr. Snyder is a good developer, you say that, and
I do too.
Mr. Ferrara says that, so.
Ms. Galanter says it too.
And I'm persuaded by what Mr. Ferrara says.
Yeah.
And so therefore, with that, Mr. Snyder, I'm going to give you an aye vote.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, members of the council, we see too few redevelopment projects happening in the city of Los Angeles now. And every time we have an opportunity to support a new one that has been approved by the redevelopment agency, which is not at this point in its life in the approving mode of such projects, we have to assume, after having asked our questions, that due diligence has been done and it's worthy of our support. The rules, the regulations, the law allows for public subsidy for redevelopment project areas. It just so happens at this point in time, this project is not requesting such. That makes it even more attractive. But if the time comes where it should be supported, it is perfectly legitimate to provide the resources that we can defend, to leverage those resources for the good of the areas that are to be redeveloped. And so I simply rise to encourage the development that is before us. My assumption is the I's have been dotted and the T's crossed. If they have not, then we will have an opportunity again to make that determination. This is essentially to move the exclusive right to negotiate forward. Nothing more, nothing less. Our resources are not being committed at this time in any substantial way. And when it is the time for us to commit resources, we have every right, and it should be anticipated, that such questions will be asked and they ought to be answered forthrightly. But I'm a proponent for redevelopment, and I know it's needed in the 6th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th, the 15th, the 14th, the 7th, and various pockets throughout the city. And I want to encourage the redevelopment agency to get on with the business of redevelopment. Mr. President, I thank you for this opportunity to address this august body.
Thank you for that compliment. Mr. Hernandez.
I'm just amazed at the decision-making process of the Circle of Friends. We keep on going round and round sometimes, and I'm not sure what the consistency tends to be. Part of my consistency has been to look at economic development in terms of a city, and I have a clear understanding that right now none of us have any concept of what it's going to take to develop this vision. What we have before us is a developer who has brought a vision and wants to develop it, has support from the community, and we have a department who basically oversees that kind of development in certain areas of the city. What kinds of resources exist in that redevelopment area at this time?
At this time, the redevelopment project area, which was adopted after the Northridge earthquake, has very few resources. It is not an area that is generating resources. For a variety of purposes, the original concept for the area was that it was going to be predominantly rehabilitation driven. That has proven not to be viable, and that was the reason for changing the concept to one that promoted reconstruction of the center. The center is the bulk of the project area. The expectation is that this project itself will start to create resources that then can be used not only to complete what needs to be done on this site, but other parts of the redevelopment project area.
But you do have the ability to basically help, through the power of the redevelopment agency, accumulate the land required for the project itself.
That's correct.
You might not have the finances to do that, but you might have the ability to use the authority to do that. Members of the council, I just want to remind us right now that what we have before us is basically an opportunity that hasn't been defined. And I think that in those negotiations, that definition will become clear, and then we will have to start making some decisions. Ultimately, when we talk about redevelopment, is taking land that currently has a certain value and increasing that value and making it productive for a community. And I think that that's what the concept is about, and that's what's beginning at this time. And I just ask us to, as that circle of friends, to just move ahead and allow for us to define this opportunity to see how it works for all of us.
Ms. Goldberg?
Are the jobs going to be living wage jobs?
Yes.
Okay. I know this developer, and I know they're going to be, but has CRA yet passed a living wage ordinance, a living wage rule?
The agency has not yet passed one. We held a public hearing, and we're reviewing the comments on that, and expect to bring that
but I
back.
just want to bring to the council's attention that this is 2.5 years later from our ordinance and our request that this get done. And I happen to know this particular developer in this project, and I'm convinced this will happen. But there's nothing that requires it, is there?
That's correct. At this point, there is not.
And I just want to remind the agency through the two of you that this has got to get done, because not all developers are this developer, and handshakes and smiles when we're passing it is one thing, but the force of a requirement that can be embedded in DDAs and OPAs and so forth is quite another. So I'm working on getting it done before I leave. I'm just wanted to point that out and to say that I support this project. Now, I know this will do the things that we want good projects to do. All boats should rise, but it's only because we happen to have a happy circumstance here, not because there's anything the agency can yet do to require it.
Mr. Pacheco?
I was going to move the previous question. Oh, did you want to finish up? Okay.
I'm glad Ms. Goldberg raised the point, because the agency could have had that ordinance a long time ago, and I assure you that when this comes back in final form, whether or not they have an ordinance, it will be incorporated within this. The only other distinction I wanted to point out, Mr. Holden raised a very good question about asking whether or not there are any homes in the area, and the answer is none, and that, of course, is the distinguishing feature between this project and the other project he chided me for. That had 78 homes, and this has none.
You don't know what you're talking about.
All right, Mr.
Number
Pacheco.
one, number.
Ms. Walters, am I right?
No, she's not right.
Mr. Pacheco.
Number one,
Mr. Pacheco,
no, wait
move
just
the
a
previous
minute.
question.
No, he recognized him. He gave up his
See,
time. and
Mr.
now it's
Wax,
me.
don't mention his name. He
See,
has
he
to
gave up
respond.
he gave up his time, and now
Yeah,
I'm to
okay,
speak.
Nate,
All
thank
right,
you. Your time
I
is
want to
up.
compliment Ms. Goldberg on raising the issue about the livable wage, because they're waiting for her to leave, as I said to her, so they don't have to implement it.
Okay,
but
thank
be
you.
assured that we're going to be here to make sure that's done henceforth. Mr. Thomas, you talked about that we're in favor of redevelopment, fine, but in some cases, like in Mr. Wax's case, as he just reiterated, he tried to find a reason to come out against a good project in that area, not realizing Mr. Hernandez said he drove by the area and it's needed. Now, you ought to drive by there since you're campaigning and you might pick up some votes.
Okay. All right. We have item number 16 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on
Yes,
that.
sir.
Okay.
Mr. President, let the record reflect that we all support good projects in the 10th Council District of the City of Los Angeles.
Maybe not. Okay, the next item.
Item number 13, called special by Councilmember Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez?
Yeah, Mr. President, members of council, Mr. President, I'd request that you hold my time, if you may, for a presentation. This is dealing with the ad hoc committee on consolidation of economic functions for the city. And I think many of you are aware that it's been ongoing. It's something that started when Mr. Ridley Thomas was chairing CD. Bill McCarley, back in those days, was the CLA's office. And we've gone through several reincarnations of the process. The last reincarnation basically requested a Citizens Oversight Committee to review the options, to work on the mission statement, and to look at the question of governance. And what you need to understand is that Citizens Oversight Committee was made up not only of 3 appointees of the mayor, but appointees of each and every one of us as council members. And that committee did a tremendous amount of work in reviewing those options and in developing some consensus. And they have a spokesperson on behalf of the committee, and I'd like Mr. Ken Bernstein, if he'll come up, to basically make a presentation in regards to economic development and the work the task force did. But I do want to acknowledge the work the task force did, and I think each and every one of us should be aware that they had many meetings. My understanding, they were good meetings because they had a lot of pizza. But we have some people to thank for that. But they worked very closely with staff. They had some tremendous debate. They had agreements and disagreements and developed some consensus positions. And I'd like Mr. Bernstein to please make a presentation to the entire council at this time.
Thank you, Councilman Hernandez, council members, and thank you for the opportunity to address the council this morning on the task force report. We did have a lot of pizza, and I'm not sure that was the reason we met 6 times instead of 2, but we were fortunate to have one of the co-founders of California Pizza Kitchen on our task force, which is did a wonderful job catering our meetings. We had a very diverse and talented 23-member committee, including representatives from each of the 15 council districts, 5 at-large members, and 3 mayoral appointees. I wanted to express our appreciation on behalf of the entire task force to our chairs, Carol Schatz of the Central City Association and Getz Wolf of AFL-CIO and UCLA for an excellent job in facilitating our meetings. And I also wanted to recognize the other task force members who are here this morning, Madeline Janice Aparicio, Carol Schatz is here, and David Cochran. We did meet 6 times between September and January. We have issued a report. It's not a lengthy report. We decided we could not tackle every individual strategy strategy or implementation measure facing the city on economic development, but we focused on the big picture, outlining a vision and then developing a rather detailed proposed structure under which that vision could be accomplished. We had task force members representing all the major constituencies of Los Angeles, major business organizations, business leaders, real estate development, labor unions, social justice advocates, the entertainment industry, academic experts, and others. We came from all parts of the city and from across the ideological spectrum. And that's why it's so extraordinary that with one exception, our group came to a consensus on economic development policy. Our task force is recommending that after a full decade of delay and deliberation, it's time to get on with it. It's time now to create a true economic development program for Los Angeles and an economic development department. Our task force came to an agreement on the vision for that department and a structure. You have the vision statement before you. I won't repeat it word for word, but I did want to emphasize that the vision statement reflects the themes our task force came back to repeatedly, that economic development involves building partnerships among business, labor, and residents, and that economic development is more than just an end in itself. It is actually a means for improving overall quality of life. We had agreement unanimously on 4 major findings. First, that the City of Los Angeles lacks today any effective focus on economic development and lacks clear, defined priorities for economic development activities. Economic development activities are scattered among numerous city departments, the mayor's office, and the council. It's unclear who is responsible for articulating an economic development strategy and carrying out that strategy. Therefore, economic development activities today are ad hoc or haphazard. We are recommending that the city embrace a strategic principle of targeting for its new economic development department. When the city makes decisions on economic resources, they should be effectively targeted to one or more of 4 categories: low income and unemployed people, economically underdeveloped areas of the city, industries that provide high quality job opportunities, and healthier neighborhoods that are in danger of future economic decline. Our second finding, that the city's current policy structure creates little shared accountability across city departments for achieving economic development goals. We recommend that the new economic development structure build in the strategic economic development principle of accountability. That means that the city should adopt a system of measurable economic development outcomes, city performance standards, and public reporting of economic development activities. The task force felt strongly that public participation in economic development, and we were the public participation task force, depends on public reporting and public accountability to give greater transparency to the city's economic development decision-making. We therefore recommend that city departments shall report on their progress in meeting economic development goals, that become part of the city's annual department and city budget process. The council and mayor should begin jointly developing an annual work program for economic development to provide the public with a regular report on outcomes and progress, and that city government partner with community organizations and private businesses that benefit from economic development programs to provide a joint report on the benefits of those programs. Our third finding, that the city be guided by the principle of creating an environment that supports economic development. We have several specific recommendations in our report on that area in terms of creating a nimble, non-bureaucratic economic development department, assisting in access to capital and technology, developing a high-quality labor force, and several other recommendations. And our final finding, that the task force finds that there is a critical need for the consolidation of city economic development functions and programs based on the principles of effective consolidation and shared governance. That first, that the city consolidate economic development functions in a timely manner. The task force did recommend that CRA employees, existing CRA employees, and their bargaining units that may be impacted by consolidation, there should be protection for these employees and their bargaining units. And that second, any consolidated economic development department have one commission and one CEO, thereby promoting accountability. We have also agreed on a proposed structure for an economic development department in some detail. A structure that fosters accountability, targeting, and an environment that supports a strong economy. We recommend that the department be organized around 5 key functions: industrial development, commercial development, finance, workforce development, and policy and research. We recommend that that these lines be jagged rather than solid, that there be interaction among these various departments. I'll conclude by briefly summarizing the three governance options that the task force wanted to present to the council. That was the one area that the task force did not come to a complete agreement. Under our first option, the CRA board would continue to be appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. The board would also become the Economic Development Commission and would oversee the Economic Development Department. This option received 10 votes from task force members. We were told it does meet the requirements of the new charter. Our second option, option B, was an attempt to create a shared governance model among the mayor and the city council, under which the mayor and council would share appointments to the governing Economic Development Commission. Unfortunately, the city attorney has informed us that this can only be effectuated through a charter amendment or an informal agreement between the council and mayor, as it would otherwise restrict the mayor's appointment powers. That option received 1 vote. The third option, option C, is simply the ordinance that you considered last year and is now back before you, under which the council itself would become the CRA board with a mayoral appointed community development commission with 9 members. That option received 6 votes. Again, I wanted to, on behalf of the entire task force, express our appreciation for involving a task force of community members in this important process. We applaud you for your deliberation on this issue and urge you now to move forward with implementation of consolidation in these recommendations.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Hernandez?
Mr. President, members of council, each and every one of you received 3 options that were basically recommended and how the task force voted on those options. One, I asked for a unanimous vote on the report. In this process, I've been trying to build as much consensus as possible. What you need to understand is I've moved from what I call option C, where the council took over the CRA, to option A. I want to respect the work of the task force, and that's where the majority of the members stood. If the mayor had a vote, Rocky Delgadillo would be pushing his button right now and asking for some time to speak to the full council, his 3 minutes at least, and be making a motion. And he cannot do that because the fact is we have to vote, and the mayor doesn't have a vote but does have veto power. In me trying to reach some consensus, what you need to understand is they would like, as part of these recommendations, that the CAO, CLA's office and city attorney also report on the 4th option, which would include the instruction that the CAO, CLA, and city attorney review maintaining the community development agency as a separate entity and creating a new city economic development department. I would like to include that instruction for the review process. It doesn't change my position, but at the same time, I think it's important that we look at all the options that were being requested. So that's the only amendment I'd be making to the report at this time and ask us to move forward.
Thank you, Councilman. The chair recognizes Councilman Wax.
I was really more, they've done a great job of trying to deal with some of these issues. I wanted to know really more what we're voting on today, what it binds us. The need for consolidation is great, but I'm not at the point where I personally want the city to take over the CRA. Would any actions today, in fact, do that? Because I want us to move forward with this process, and I'm grateful for all the people participating, but I think that before we make any decision to actually take over the CRA, we need a lot more input from a lot of people. I was not prepared to do that, to be honest with you. So, Mr. Deaton, could you just tell me by the actions today, what would we be committing ourselves to?
Basically directing our office and the CEO's office to report back in 30 days on implementation of the proposals that task force.
And at that point, we could
pick and choose. The task force, quite frankly, hasn't recommended that, so.
Right.
They haven't recommended.
No, that is not the recommendation.
Okay, good. Well, then that's, huh? Oh, okay, I thought that they had, and that's why I was concerned, because I'm not prepared to do that. But I really appreciate this process going forward and Mr. Hernandez's job in overseeing this. It has been a long time since we have needed to consolidate. We have reams of paper, as Mr. Deaton well knows, on this topic endlessly, and I don't want it to just end up with yet another report. I think, I thought someone was going to do this 8 years ago. But anyway, we're going on the right track for this.
Actually, the first recommendation coming from our office was 1987 or something like that.
87, yeah. So, geez, so I want this to move forward.
Perhaps
and
it's an idea whose time has come.
I want it to move forward. I'm appreciative of the work of both the task force and Mr. Hernandez and his committee, but I really want to hold back on the one issue because I'm not prepared to have the city take over the CRA.
Thank you, Councilman. The chair recognizes Councilwoman Goldberg.
Yes, I did want to just review the bidding of what we are voting on today. We're voting to incorporate the vision statement recommended by the task force. We're voting to ask to direct the CAO and the CLA and the city attorney to look at the 3 governance options and to come back to us in 30 days with recommendations. We are referring to the Personnel Committee a whole host of recommendations as to what you would have to do in order to begin actually to physically consolidate these various organizations and agencies. And I want to, the reason I mention this is I want to sound a note of caution. This is not an easy process. There are a tremendous number of personnel issues that are going to have to be taken up as we take a look at this, and we're going to begin starting with them very quickly in Personnel Committee. It also directs that in whatever form that there is a commission, whether it's the commission that's the CRA or a commission separate from the CRA, that the commission all be appointed at the same time, not staggered, in order to make it possible for the councils that will be here at that time to review whether or not there's adequate geographic representation for all the targeted areas. I think that's a very important point. And finally, it instructs the CRA to report on their current reorganization plans to the CED Committee, Housing and Community Redevelopment Committee, and the Ad Hoc Committee on Economic Development Consolidation. So in answer to your question, whether or not CRA pieces of it go into this, or all of it goes into this, or there's a separate CRA board or not, is still an open question. But we are making steps toward that. There were 17 votes cast, and the vote was 10, 1, and 6 on the governance issue. A lot of us had hoped it was going to be 15-2 or 16-1. When you have as many as 6 dissenters, I don't think you can just ignore that. Especially after they had all of the discussion they did. And I know that in our committee we discussed it. We also did not take a final position on things like MBOC and the LA Business Team, which is still also out there. And I just wanted to review the bidding because we've had a tremendous amount of excellent involvement by this public participation task force. But now the actual political and social and economic realities of the city are going to have to be taken into account by the 15 of us and the mayor as to how to actually make this consolidation work. And that's yet still a task to be done. We hope to get some direction and advice from those 3 groups, the city attorney, the CLA, and the CAO, as to how to look at this, in addition to the incredible report and work that was done by the public participation.
Mrs. Chick. Mr. Holden.
I'd like to have Mr. Jerry Charlene come up, please. Could you hold my time while he comes up, Mr. President? I'm not going to speak long.
No. Don't give me that hold up. You want to ask him some questions?
Well, he's waiting.
You could have asked him before.
No, I didn't.
You got 3 minutes.
It's appropriate for even the public to hear this, Mr. President. They're the taxpayers. And they've been paying it a long time like you have. You know it better than anyone else. You're an older gentleman like a few of us.
Is that can I get
compliment? That's a compliment.
Race, age discrimination? Can I file a suit against him?
Okay, that's okay. We'll get you to pick up the tab, Mr. President. Jerry, Charlene, what's your fix on this? What's your take on this? I mean, how's it going to affect you? I mean, you're still going to be there maybe or not there? Tell me.
I think my focus is to try to organize a CRA in the best way we possibly can. And I think it is really quite independent of the final results of your issues of consolidation. whether or not we're consolidating or not consolidating whatever parts we're doing. I think it will be a helpful process that we continue what we're doing.
So we won't have any more or less influence over what happens there in the final analysis?
Well, I will certainly be coming before the appropriate bodies to report on the reorganization process that we're involved in.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez, you satisfied with all of that? All right, thank you.
All right, we have item, what item is this, 13?
Item 13.
Okay, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote. As amended, yes.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Forthwith on that. Next item,
Item 13, called special by Councilmember Goldberg.
item 14. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I'd just like to ask the department two quick questions, and then, my office was contacted by EAA concerning this $49+ million contract, multi-year contract. And basically, their questions were, why couldn't this be done inside? Why do we have to contract out this level of work? Secondly, what does this mean that any employees will be, lose their job, downsized, or otherwise be reduced in rank? And thirdly, if it does go forward, how will the issues of training be handled to make sure that current employees, if you say they aren't going to be negatively affected, can take advantage of what's going on? So those three questions were the questions I wanted to raise.
Good morning, Mr. President, council members. My name is Randy Howard. I'm the manager of energy rates and contracts for the Department of Water and Power. I'm going to go ahead and respond to the first question you posed. The first question was the $49 million expenditure. The actual agreement before you today is $21.3 million. That's what we're asking for approval on. The entire project capital expenditure is $49 million. That includes the department's staff, labor, other hardware and equipment is related to the department's expenditure on the implementation of this program over a 3-year period of time. On the
question, why couldn't it be done inside?
again, this is a very large capital expenditure project that's very specialized. The last time the Department of Water and Power put in a new billing system was in 1974. So we're talking about a very outdated system. We lost a lot of expertise in just maintaining that existing system when we downsized several years ago. And at this point, we're trying to update us to a platform by which we can go forward in our future rates and competition. On the second issue, I'm going to go ahead and defer that to Ms. Mizumoto.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Speak into the microphone.
Good morning, Mr. President and council members. My name is Peggy Mizumoto, and I'm the lead on this project at DWP. With regard to the training that we have planned, we actually started a training program in 1997 as we started implementing this system. We both budgeted and planned additional training under this contract in collaboration with our technical team of programmers at the Department of Water and Power and with the vendor Severn Trent Systems. We're designing it just like Severn Trent trains their own programmers, and that's how we know that we're going to have in-house technical staff to be able to support this. In addition, outside of the contract itself, we have planned and budgeted training for third-party products that are going to be used in conjunction with the proprietary system.
Okay, Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, there was no report. I just got a report. Why didn't we circulate a report?
This, this item it's a rush, and it took a long time to come out because of the arbitration and all that. However, it was just heard in Commerce on yesterday, so that's why it's a little late.
Well, I'm not, if I vote today, it's going to have to be no, because I don't, if you want to continue to Friday, where I can review it, maybe I can be just as informed as Ms. Goldberg and others, fine. There's no need today. I understand that sometime in May or June, that this should put this on the California Transportation Commission's agenda. But, and you just have to get one no vote unless you want to continue one day.
Transportation.
Huh? Oh, 14. All right, still the same thing, we just got the report.
Okay, the only other thing, there is a time limit here. The contract expires at the end of the month, and we would like, that's why we brought it.
What, it mean, this month?
Yes, yes, sir.
Why you wait so late?
We unfortunately had to mitigate the employee issues.
When did you start doing this, taking this action?
Oh, this has been in the works.
This amendment to the agreement was originally developed and brought forward in July of last year.
So you initiated this whole effort before July?
That is correct, and it's gone
More
through...
than a year ago?
It's gone through a level of arbitration, and the arbitrator just brought forward the findings March 6th, and we brought it forward to the Board of Commissioners
So
at that
it's
time.
almost like it was orchestrated to meet the deadline, end of the month, so we wouldn't even have a chance to review it with the report just coming out in my hand 3 minutes ago. Well, no, you talk, and I don't have to read it because I'll just vote no on it anyway. Thank you.
Okay, we have item 14 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Forthwith on that.
Thank you.
Mr. Holden exercised his constitutional right. Next item.
Item number 17, called special by Councilmember Walters.
I'm told that Ms. Sikowski called 20 special and she's satisfied, so prepare the roll on 20. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Mrs. Walters, you called 17?
Yes, I called 17 special, Mr. President, for the purpose of voting no on the exemption of another assistant general manager from civil service.
Okay, prepare the roll on 17. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Yeah, well, you obviously wanted to vote no, so we'll...
Mr. President, we've acted on item 31. Can we forward that forthwith, please?
Yes, forthwith on 31. Okay, the next item.
Item number 21, called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden?
This TIP project, Mr. President, on Santa Monica Boulevard, requesting about $5.6 billion in state transportation improvement programs. Maybe somebody can come forward and tell us how was that priority established, that the Department of Transportation, I guess referring it to MTA, et cetera, that caused this project to be in front for this amount of money. Anybody here can talk about that? They're on their way? Okay, thank you. And also speak to urgency of it.
Good morning, Mr. President, council members. Roger Oldenkamp with the Bureau of Engineering. I have staff here that are involved with this project. We're here today for the Santa Monica Boulevard Transit Parkway project. This item was heard at Transportation Committee last Tuesday. The project is eligible for $5.6 million in fiscal year 2000 state transportation improvement funds. We have to request these funds prior to the end of the fiscal year. In order to meet that deadline, we need to submit a request to be heard at their commission meeting by the end of this month so we can meet the May or June meetings. The request before you is to authorize the city engineer to submit the request to the committee for this $5.6 million and to enter into an MOU with the MTA. Is there any other questions? We'll try to answer them best we can.
I asked you about a priority. I mean, Exposition has been looking at the need for TIP money for a long time. In fact, USC took it upon themselves to improve a portion of the Exposition that's adjacent to the university. And my question, how do we establish this priority to say it's going to be Santa Monica Boulevard as opposed to some other major corridor? Or do we know?
It's my understanding that this was part of the submittal made by the Department of Transportation, and this project became eligible for those funds through that submittal
Okay.
process.
That's the point I want to know. It's the City Department of Transportation made the recommendation. So what we need to do then is to, not you can't answer this, but we'll vote on it today, and I can understand the urgency of it, but we need to have the city look at all the corridors and then establish some priority, giving each district equal consideration. And I think that's something we ought to consider in the future.
Okay.
Mr. Savornich, you know, we want to make sure that all other areas are equally considered. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have 21 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
Fourteen ayes.
That is approved. Members, we have item, what, 38, is it? It's a
President.
closed session item, and we need to go into executive session at this time.
I think there's concurrence on that.
23A.
Yeah.
All right, is there any objections to motion to approve 23A? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote. 23A.
14 ayes.
That is approved. All right,
Mr. President, Arts, Health, and Humanities, I had indicated a no vote on this for them to add these positions at this time. I don't believe they can hire the people and be ready to go by July 1, but they can engage in the selection process. And it has not been approved for the next year's budget.
Rita, perhaps I'm mistaken. I thought that when it came to budget, we had a further discussion and actually we unanimously approved it. Is that false?
I don't believe I was in Budget
let's-
and Finance when
All
this
right, I'm
happened.
sorry. I thought we had a good...
okay, the matter has not been approved yet, so it's still a special item. We'll leave it on that.
Okay.
We do need to go into executive session, so we'll go in executive session at this time. All the people not involved in the executive session will have to...
Are you coming back to...
23?
Are you coming back to full session to finish?
Yeah, after the closed
The
session,
agenda,
yes. We will take up all the items still on the desk after the executive session. Okay, we're back in open session. Okay, the next item.
Item number 23.
Anybody out there that wants? The door is open. Item 23 is before us. Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to move 23A, the Budget and Finance Report. Let me describe what's at stake and why. The Library Department has very little security citywide. There are very few libraries that have security at any one point in time. And the plan, when we initiated the budget for this fiscal year, was to create a roving force of additional library security personnel to help keep our libraries the safe havens that our residents count on them to be. For a variety of reasons that were described in the Budget and Finance Committee last week, among them the unavailability of lists from which to hire these personnel, the hiring process has been slowed. And in fact, the hiring process could not begin until April. Nonetheless, Ms. Mizikowski and myself, who were the two members of the committee present last week, thought it was a good idea for us to move forward with the library department reporting to us at the end of April if for some reason there were impediments to hiring up these library security staff. Before we went into closed session, Ms. Walters, who chairs Arts, Health, and Humanities and who had concerns about this, expressed the concern that we would be approving something for a short period of time in this fiscal year, wondering whether or not it would be continued in the next fiscal year. In the Budget and Finance Committee last week, the CAO was asked, was this to be included in next fiscal year's budget by the mayor? And the answer is yes. So with that information in mind, the idea that we would be actually beginning a process that should have begun months ago, this fiscal year, that would, unless the council were to object, continue into next fiscal year. The committee recommended hiring up these positions. There are actually more vacancies than positions on the table here. So they have to fill the existing vacancies from a list to become available in April. I think it's good for libraries, it's good for our kids, and it will be continued from a fiscal standpoint next fiscal year. So I urge support for 23A.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Mr. Fuhr, for that information. And as you know, I was not at that committee meeting where the CAO gave us that information. And so with the information that has been included in the budget for next year, I will support this.
All right, Mr. Holden?
Did you say did you amend it? Did you amend 23A or something?
No, moving 23A.
And that's for next year's budget or something?
Starting in April.
Oh, but you're going to start the process now. So then
We're square.
All right, fine. Well, I support it, Mr. President. We need more security at the libraries and...
Okay, thank you. Prepare the roll on 23A. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
And that is approved. Next item.
Item number 34, called special by Councilmember Wax.
Mr. Wax, maybe we better get a presentation by Mr. Deaton.
Mr. President, members of the council, what you have before you is a series of recommendations relative to City Hall. One is...
We do have, it's a public hearing item, so maybe we better hear the public hearing first.
No video presentation. I can arrange a video presentation.
Let's hear we have Carol Schatz and Joe Loomer.
Good morning. Carol Schatz, President of Central City Association of Los Angeles. We strongly support the RESTACK plan that you have before you. We think the staff has done an excellent job of balancing the interests involved in bringing the various departments that have been identified on the chart that I believe you all have. We think it's extremely important that council and its staff, along with the mayor and the departments that have been identified, move back into a restored City Hall. I think it's important to step back and recognize how important City Hall really is to this city. There is no greater symbol of Los Angeles, no more recognized symbol than our City Hall. It is a symbol of greatness of this city, and it should be a symbol of unity. It is not just a building that we're restoring that is like any other building that might be restored. And it should be a symbol that connects all of our neighborhoods together as the place where government meets and confers and deals out policy that affects the citizens' lives. $300 million has been allocated to restore this City Hall, and it is extremely important that it be beautiful not just on the outside but on the inside, and that all the employees that are moving back in, yours and those of other departments, have wonderful offices, as good as the offices over here. It is very important that the citizens experience beautiful space. And if this means that we have to allocate additional funds to do this, then it is cost well worth it. I would remind you that in San Francisco, there was great outcry when their budget to restore their city hall went over budget. And the mayor was getting a lot of heat. And at the end of the day, when the building was completed, and hopefully you got copies of the article in the LA Times that were sent to you by Project Restore a few months ago, this building in San Francisco has become the most coveted tourist attraction in the city, a symbol of pride for all of San Francisco's residents, and that's what this City Hall should be. It should be a symbol of what this city represents and all of its neighborhoods. So I encourage you to support this restack plan and any additional allocations that are necessary to make this project what it needs to be for Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Loomer.
Good morning, Mr. President, honorable City Council members. My name is Joe Loomer, and I'm Vice President of L&R Investment Company, the owner of 2 buildings on Spring Street, in which the city is our tenant. I would like to address you this morning not on the specifics of the proposed stacking plan itself.
How are you doing?
I'm sure the city in its wisdom will find the best, most efficient, and most cost-effective way to house the various departments in City Hall and in City Hall East. But I would like to address this chamber, or rather remind the council members about commitments they or their predecessors made to the historic core of downtown Los Angeles. First, the city, beginning in 1987, established a policy to help restore and support the historic core on Spring Street. This commitment to revitalize the historic core was further reinforced in 1994 when the City Council adopted the Downtown Strategic Plan, and finally in 1995, City Council adopted the following motion, and I'm quoting here, that prior to entering into any subsequent lease negotiations for the relocation of city workers from city facilities, that the Department of General Services, City Administrative Officer, Bureau of Engineering, and other concerned city departments be instructed to make every effort to find suitable office space within the area known as the Historic Corridor, and to report back to Council if the department is unable to find appropriate office facilities within the Historic Corridor prior to leasing office space elsewhere in the downtown area of Los Angeles. This motion was presented by Richard Alatorre, council member of the 14th District, and seconded by Ms. Rita Walters, council member from the 9th District. Secondly, the Community Redevelopment Agency actively pursued a policy of improving the Spring Street corridor by investing in 2 significant garages to meet parking needs, by developing apartment units to increase the residential component of the area, and by building the LA Theater to improve the local cultural life. The money available to repay the bonds for the 2 garages are directly linked to parking revenues generated by the city's tenancy on Spring Street. Thirdly, the CRA and the city actively pursued the state of California to move its government offices here, promising the city's continuing commitment to the area. The state built the Ronald Reagan Building and most recently renovated the Luby Building at 4th and Broadway and moved thousands of employees into the area because of the city's promises. How will the city look in front of elected officials in Sacramento if now, after the state has made a commitment to the historic core, the city abandons it? Fourth, the landowners on Main, Spring, and Broadway have established their own BID effective January 1, 1999, to improve security, cleanliness, and communication in the area. The fact that these same landowners have voluntarily chosen to significantly tax themselves is a testament to their own faith and concern about their neighborhood. Fifth, recent developments along the Spring Street corridor would be tragically undercut by the city's abandonment. The rejuvenation of Broadway and the success of Tom Gilmore's residential project at 4th and Spring Street would be a mortal blow by the city's decision would receive a mortal blow by the city's decision to abandon Spring Street. And finally, all mass transit systems, including MTA buses, the Dash Lines, and the Red Line, are all designed to transport employees and people doing business with the city along the Spring Street historic corridor. People talk a lot about supporting mass transit. Here is a concrete opportunity to do so. Thank you for allowing me to remind the Council why it should not abandon the historic core in its rush to approve a stacking plan for its departments. You have asked the private sector to invest their resources here. Now we ask you to remember your commitment to us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have John Walsh wants to be heard.
I want to back the City Council
For those of you who haven't been to the city council chambers, it's the only council chambers probably in the world that has church pews. You feel like you're in a cathedral with marble. It's a great place. In fact, I got so much of a sense of responsibility when I was over there. It is the only political body where I have not been ejected from, is the city council. I would not do it. I must say, it's like cathedral. It's a cathedral for political atheists. I am a political atheist, which means I don't believe in politicians. I don't think they exist. No one has told me they exist. I'd just like to say you look great, Mr. Ferraro, and we want you here because you are our Pope of the City Council chambers, and I want to see you in a year or so reigning in your true spot with the Holy See as our papal representative at the new, improved City Council chambers. Thank you.
President, please apologize.
He's not all bad, is he? Okay. Mr. Deaton, you want to give us a report?
You want me to follow?
John, you can come back anytime, John.
You want me to follow that? Anyway, what's before you is basically four basic decisions. One is a budgetary change of $26 million, which is composed of three specific elements. One is that when construction bids went out, they came back at roughly $12–13 million more than we anticipated. It was due to some delays that we had while construction cost was going up as we reviewed the various aspects of this building. Second one is $5 million for communications. We want to bring the building to a level of fiber optics, et cetera, to go into the new century, and I think it's an appropriate investment. And finally, $9 million, which is for, as we call, owner contingencies. As we move into the new building, there are a lot of changes, adjustments that have to be made that are really not on the fundamental construction that we anticipated when we went in, but they have to do with changing things around and landscaping, et cetera, that we need. Second decision is the one that we had postponed, which was, as a part of the stacking plan, we believe we should utilize the tower floors, and we require $15.5 million authorization, although this has been in the budget for roughly 2 years. The fourth is the adoption of a stack plan, and you have a schematic of that, and I'll return to that in just a moment. The final decision that was recommended by your committee was the policy of having the seating arrangement as you have it here in City Hall, which we would reverse it. In the old City Hall, you face the Pope, and in the case of you would be facing the citizens under the new scenario.
Similar to this.
Similar to this.
Yeah.
Right. Without the pillars. Yes, right. Basically, what we had brought to the committee was a kind of a preliminary plan for this building as we moved out of this building into the new building. The committee, at the suggestion of several people, recommended that City Hall East be deleted from that, so we will revisit that and report back to you in a timely fashion for that. We won't be moving out of this building to City Hall until July 2001, over a year from now. And so what you have before you is just a schematic for City Hall. We were instructed to look at several things between the time that was considered by committee and now. They included the mayor's office wanted, for efficiency purposes, to try to consolidate their people as well in the future. It would not be the same mayor's office, and always cognizant of mayor's efficiency. We've worked for several days on that, and we have, I think, made arrangements where the mezzanine floors surrounding their offices on the third floors would be satisfactory. The city clerk indicated that he wanted to have services related to the council, et cetera, that they had normally had in the prior building to be continued, in the City Hall to be included in this TAC plan, that has been continued. In order to do that, we have made several modifications, moving Bureau of Accounting to the 9th floor, and moving other adjustments that this relates to, and I think those changes have been incorporated. City Clerk also raised the issue, and in fact, it is a decision that we'll have to go through several iterations between, not several, but some iterations in the next few months relative to any changes in the budget and the amount of space required. Clerk has indicated that the amount of square foot that we've allocated is not quite sufficient. We'll be reviewing that and trying to accommodate that. There are also some departments that might get some transfers of staff that would require additional space. That also relates to the Department of Finance. We have provided some additional space for administration that would allow for about 5,000 square feet for a tax and permit and treasurer, and that configuration of Department of Finance. The final decision in the summer is something different. We'll have to revisit that and come back and talk to you. The final concern, I believe, with the City Clerk was the meeting rooms. As you can see from this, we have the meeting rooms on the 10th floor. City Clerk has indicated that if it can't be on the 2nd or 3rd floor, that he would suggest that we continue the meeting rooms in this building. We will probably return to you on that issue. I still strongly believe it should be on the 10th floor. I'm sure he still strongly believes that I'm wrong. Which isn't an unusual.
He acknowledges.
Yeah, it's not an unusual situation for Mr. Deaton and Mr. Carey to be in. It's one we've shared for some 30 years. I always try to prevail, however. In any event, I think we'll revisit that. We still like to hold it on this stacking plan as appropriate. Also, in response to the historic core issues, what basically happened when we moved out of City Hall is we moved into several sites on Spring Street and on Figueroa. Currently, city planning is in Figueroa, and the Department of Public Works offices, Bureau of Accounting, et cetera, are on Spring Street. So we've moved roughly half of both of them. The rest of this is coming from City Hall East. We, Mr. Fujioka and myself, I think, have a commitment to the historic core and support. Councilwoman Walters has introduced a motion that would direct us to review that and come back to you on what would be a way of consolidating and maintaining our policy down on the historic core. We support that and would recommend 34A be adopted as well. That's our report.
Okay. Mrs. Chick, do you want to be heard on this?
Mr. Deaton and Mr. Fujioka, just in terms of this increased cost, and you said something about it's in the budget. I mean, the fund.
Part of it is.
Yeah. Let me preface my comments by saying I appreciated hearing from members of the public about the importance of this building, and it's why I've always supported saving it and improving it and using it. But I am concerned in terms of oversight issues, and was wondering why the costs were not these costs were not anticipated, and why we didn't assume that communications would need to be replaced, that they would just be, old, since we were already putting in new fiber optics. Why didn't we assume that the communication system would also need an update? But to have bids that were 13%, originally estimated 13% too low, shakes my confidence in who was making those estimates and why they lowballed them to that point. So if I missed part of your explanation, I apologize, but I would like those questions specifically answered.
Well, let's take the communications first. This is a major upgrade. This was first contemplated in 1989. We're some 11 years later, and communications and fiber optics have come a long way in that period of time, and I don't think anybody could have anticipated the kinds of things we want to do in that new building, or that we would even have the option to do them. As it relates to the construction cost, a little bit of a sore point. The fact is that if we had been able to go out to bid when we made those calculations, we believe those bids would have come back roughly what they were. Two things happened. One, there was a long delay, as you recall, as we had some outside assistance in looking over our shoulders. And during that period of time, two things happened. One is that construction inflation happened, and secondly, the amount of construction increased substantially in Southern California, and the competition was much more severe, and it related to a cost factor.
I don't know if you're trying to be polite or mysterious, but I prefer that you be neither, and if you could say directly.
We had a blue
Who was
ribbon.
peeking over our shoulder?
There was a blue ribbon committee created to try to determine whether or not we could reduce cost. One of the, there were several suggestions, most of which I recommended against, not the least of which was elimination of a couple of fire exits down, which was not required under the code for a historic building. But
Was that attached to the council floor?
Yeah.
yes, but I'm not certain that was the.
So what was the
total
delay
amount.
altogether, and then I'll
About a year.
So a year while we waited for a blue ribbon committee to poke around and come up with unrealistic proposals about how we could save actually cost us a considerable amount of money.
That's my position.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Padilla?
Thank you, Your Excellency. Had just a couple basic questions.
John, see what you did to me?
Just one basic question. In committee, a couple of questions and concerns were raised by our city controller, our city clerk, and by the mayor's office regarding the Department of Finance and the accommodations for those offices. Have those been resolved?
Yes and no. The controller's office was willing to speak to the City Hall East, and since the committee recommended City Hall East being deleted and considered at a later point, we will consider the controller's issues at that time. The mayor's office is pleased with the floor plan as proposed, and as I stated, the clerk, although he's here to speak for himself, I think is concerned that we're maybe 4,000 or 5,000 feet under what he needs. We have ways to address that. We'll need to work on those in the next few months. And secondly, still the open issue relative where the meeting rooms are.
We'll just cut his office in half? Is that the way we'll solve that for?
That occurred to me. Or just to merge him with the department.
Did you want to say something, Mike?
I wish I had thought of it. No. Mr. Deaton apparently is going to allow me to lose at another time, so. On the committee, let me talk about the committee. The letter I sent was basically two factors. One is public access to the council and the council files during not only committee meetings, but council meetings. The other real concern I have, I was the building emergency coordinator in City Hall. I'm the building emergency coordinator here. I believe I can get city employees off the upper floors far easier than I can the public, and I'm really concerned with safety issues. We've had committee hearings in this building that have several hundred people attending those. It's going to be a strain on the elevators. It's going to be a strain on people getting up and down the floors relative to attending a committee meeting and then coming down to go to the council meeting. Again, Ron's point down here is that we did not have good committee meetings on the second floor, and I agree with that. The issue is whether we can find additional space, better space on the lower floors to keep the public not confined, but just to the 3 floors that they would have to utilize.
Okay.
Not to belabor it, on the safety issue, we used to have a cafeteria that had, they actually cooked up there. They had a capacity of 300 people. There was a lot of interaction. On the upper floors, we have the planning commissions and et cetera. I'll buy off on the access, I just can't buy off on the safety.
Okay, Mrs. Walters?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Deaton referenced a motion, council members, that I have submitted. I wrote a letter. I was unable to be at the committee meeting where this was discussed, but I sent a letter to the committee with the request that the following two requirements be included in the adoption of this report, and somehow they did not make it to the report. So I repeat for you today the amendment that I want to make to item 34, and it's 34A and has been distributed. One, direct the CAO and CLA to develop an approach for a strategic plan that will examine the impact of the City Hall stack plan on the remaining leased space downtown. And two, to give priority in the strategic plan to the historic core. And I think that should be done. As I've said many times here, council members, we want to revitalize Spring Street. We want to revitalize the historic core. But if the city is not willing to participate in that revitalization, then we cannot expect anyone from the private sector to undertake that. And so I think the city should really lead the way in restoring the historic core and the use of those buildings. They're closer to us than Figueroa Street is close to us. I've had a conversation with Mr. Deaton, and building and safety is going to be left on Figueroa. They seem to be happy, but my concern is whether the public is happy with this on Figueroa. That building is very forbidding when you try to get into it. But be that as it may, I do submit this addition, this amendment, for this motion. The other thing that I wanted to bring to council members' attention, in the event that you don't know, the 10th floor, on the 10th floor, the original use for one side of the 10th floor was a gymnasium. And the floors are in there, the original floors and what have you are there. I sent a letter to our president. Now, what are they calling you, the exalted ruler or something? Suggesting that that be restored to its original use and be named the John Ferraro Gymnasium. But I never got a reply from the president. Maybe he didn't take to that too kindly.
I had to send it to the Vatican to find out.
But it's a beautiful floor, and council members, the new buildings, the federal building has a gymnasium in there for its employees, and I could think of no better use for that than a gymnasium for city employees, and maybe we could pass a hat among city employees to purchase the equipment for that. But that would be restoring the building to its original use. And with that, I urge passage of this amendment to 34A.
Yeah, Mrs. Walters, I think we approved that in the committee, but it didn't get on the...
Right, it needs to be on the report, on the file.
So Ms. Galanter?
I just needed one clarification, and I have one comment. I certainly understand that we have many times adopted and readopted the policy of trying to help and participate in the restoration of the historic core. I just want to be clear that this doesn't mean give priority to the historic core over our own city buildings.
No.
Because okay. And thank you. The other thing is that I wouldn't treat this safety stuff lightly. I remember one day in the old City Hall when I forgotten what the emergency was. I think there was a suspicious package, and we were ordered to evacuate. And as people in my office picked up our stuff and walked out on the second floor, there were all these people kind of wandering around in the hall like this. And they said, "Do you really think there's an emergency?" And I kept saying, "Walk. Didn't they teach you this in first grade? Don't run, walk quickly, get outside." And our own city employees were uncomfortable about just doing it. And as it turned out, it was not an emergency, and we were all very grateful. But I'd be very concerned if it was that difficult to get the city employees to evacuate when they were ordered to, how we're going to manage evacuating the public. And I think Mr. Carey's concerns are worth serious consideration, because it's not easy, even when the police give you orders to disperse, people don't always do it. And those are not very big hallways, and the hallways aren't going to get bigger, the staircases aren't going to get bigger, the elevators aren't going to get bigger. So I understand that if everybody's paying attention and everybody's on the ball, yes, you can evacuate quickly and efficiently, but the fact is, in any given crowd, not everybody is.
Just two responses. One is that I know that committee meetings are well attended. However, the number of people are at least somewhat controllable. And as I stated before, one of the things that we did not cut out of the project was fire escapes. And two brand new fire escapes at both ends of the, if you can imagine the tower, but two down both sides, which goes up to the 10th floor. And that's one of the reasons that I think that the gymnasium may not be the best idea, is that I'd hate to see somebody slam dunk and end up on the 4th floor from the.
Mr. Holden, you said you were not going to speak anymore. Did you change your mind?
I was just going to give point of information based on the gym that they want to name in your honor. And Ms. Rita Walters has an excellent idea. And I would support that, Mr. Ferrara. In terms of passing the hat for the equipment, I just want to give you the information that every 3 years or so at the Marina City Club, they acquire brand new equipment because nobody's using it. They just like the way it looks when it's new. And so you can probably acquire that. I can help you negotiate that deal. And I just wanted to give you that kind of information. You'll have the state-of-the-art equipment. You won't pay very much for it.
How is the Marina City Club, Dave? Ms. Mistakowski?
I move the previous question.
Okay, we have the previous question. No one else wants to be heard, so the previous question is imposed. Mrs. Walters, we'll vote on Mrs. Walters' motion. 34A, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Now we have 34 as amended. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes, 2 noes.
That is approved. Next item.
This is the time for comments from the public on non-agenda items.
Okay. We have Yvette Vasquez and John Walsh. Yvette Vasquez, John Walsh.
From now on, you will be known as Pope John IV. And as you leave, take a look at the chimney on the top of City Hall. White smoke is coming out. Check it out. Now, I'd just like to say, we shouldn't go that. You know how far we should go, Mr. Ferraro? I am now starting an exploratory committee, Ferraro for Mayor 2001. In 1985, you lost by an eyelash. I voted for you. That's probably the reason you lost. But I'm telling you that Mr. Wax has said to me that if you run, he's going to back out of the race. Mr. Savornich will be your deputy mayor. Villaraigosa will be your deputy mayor. And maybe Reardon will run for president, run for city council, and he'll be president of the city council, and he'll know how difficult it is. I think that it's time for you to run. It is the moment for you to run for mayor. Jimmy Hahn is too young. He can be mayor in 8 years from now. He'll only be 28 then. So you look like a young man. You act like a young man. It's a young man in a 59-year-old man's body. Please, if you agree with me, anybody out there, call his office. Ferraro 2001 mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, John. But no thanks. Okay, the public hearing is closed. The next item,
Motions for posting and referral.
there's no objection, unanimous vote.
Council has excuses on the desk. Councilmember Padilla requests to be excused. City business, May 3rd, meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Goldberg requests to be excused April 4th. Personal business meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Pacheco requests to be excused April 12th. City business meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Galanter requests to be excused April 5th and April 19th to leave at 11:30. City business meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Ferraro requests to be excused personal business April 4th meets council policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Wax requests to be excused April 14th to arrive at 11 a.m. City business meets council policy.
You're going to be on time, Joe, huh? 11 a.m., you'll be on time? Unanimous vote.
And Councilmember Pacheco requests to be excused March 31st to leave at 11 a.m. City business, I need a motion.
No, you can't move. Pacheco, yeah, unanimous vote. And the 19th, excuse me, personal business.
Okay.
Does that meet council policy?
Yes, it does.
Okay, unanimous vote. You want to go over a few items? You want to reconsider some of these things?
Yeah, sure. What do you want to reconsider?
Hey, okay.
Okay, that clears the desk, Mr. President.
Okay, we have some adjourning motions, so would everyone please stand? I just got endorsed.
John Walsh? Oh, God.
Members of the council, I'd ask we adjourn in memory of Joe Garcia. He worked for the city over 30 years. His
Yeah.
last position was
Second.
director of the CICED in the Public Works Department. He's survived by his mother, Monica, sons, Joey and Kevin, sister, Virginia Lamson. I'd ask we adjourn in his memory. Also, I'd ask we adjourn in memory of Jacqueline Marie Gerard. She was the editor and sales manager for 25 years with the Tolucan Times, a newspaper.
Second on that.
She leaves her daughter, Michelle, and her son, Michael.
I'd like to second that also.
Mr. Wax wants a second. Mr. Burnson.
Also Joe Garcia.
Mr. Padilla.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wish to adjourn not in memory of, but in tribute to Leonard Shapiro, who shocked us with his announcement yesterday. And talking to some of the more veteran members of the council, I know he'll be missed, and we're going to miss his humor, but certainly his input on a variety of
What did he
city
shock us
matters.
with?
We're not going to let him go. We're going to bring him back.
What did he shock us with?
Said he wasn't coming back.
He's retiring. He's retiring.
Gee, that's too bad.
Oh, no, he's great. I think
Okay.
he's fabulous.
Mrs. Walters, did you have?
Yes, I'd like to be a seconder on the one for Joe Garcia, please.
Okay. Call the roll.
Leonard Shapiro has an amazing knowledge. He knows.
The council is adjourned.
He's going to be 80 years old, and that's it.